Okay, students, are you able to hear and see me properly? Please tell me in the chat area. Are you able to hear and see me properly? Please tell me in the chat area. Okay, I think we are live online. I think there is no issue as such. That's what I feel. Okay. Students, can you type something in the chat area like hello, hi, something like that, so that I come to know that the chat is active? Okay, so I think everything is working very smoothly. Okay, let's start with this session. I think there is no other issue that is there. Great. Okay, great. Very nice to see you all. Very nice to see you all. First time we are doing a YouTube live with this batch. Okay, so good, very good to see you all. Now, boys and girls, today we are going to do, as you know, the concept of test of controls in chapter number 3. I'll be explaining you the concept, and of course, then after that, the answers that are there, we are going to do those answers. Okay. Before I can go ahead, I'll have to just tell you in relation to the CA Iconic program, a flagship program by Unacademy. Just about 2 to 3 minutes on this. Now, Unacademy has this CA Iconic program, which is very, very beneficial for students. Okay. In this, we have the live mentoring platform that helps the students with one-to-one personal coaching, one-to-one doubt solving, evaluate test series, printed books, industry expert sessions, Discord, and all these beneficial, tools which are there for the students to use and get success in CA Inter. Along with that, whatever benefits you get in the plus courses, that is the live classes, weekly tests, study materials, unlimited access, structured courses, all these benefits you definitely get. Now, 1:1 live mentoring in Iconic. Give your exam prep and extra edge with our live mentoring platform, that is the LMP. Now, in this experience personalized learning like never before, discuss your doubts, clarify your concepts, enhance your exam strategy with just a click. Get customized study plan from dedicated mentors, very important. And finally, articles of guidance to leave your mark in the professional world. Okay. We have the evaluated test series, that is after 40% portion is over, there is one test. After 80% portion is over, there is another test. After 100% portion is over, there is another test. Tests are not only just taken. After this, they also do the analysis and detailed evaluation of answers is done by subject matter experts, and get personal guidance and feedback from subject experts basis your performance. So these are the benefits that you get on Unacademy. For the Iconic subscription, if you use the code Yashes Live, okay, you will get after 6 months, you can see the price there, 5,000 per month, 12 months, 3,188 per month, and 24 months, you have 48% off. That is, you have to only pay 2,583 per month. Okay. We do have the for the Iconic subscription combo, CA Foundation plus CA Intermediate. 12 months it is 4,125 per month, and 24 months it is 2,750 per month. Okay. There is a Republic Day special offer which is going on, boys and girls. 6 months free extension you can get. Okay. I can remember that movie, there is a movie called Three Idiots. It's an Hindi movie. In that, they say that Amir Khan says, free. Okay. So I can remember that in my head. So 6 months free extension applicable on 1 year and above plus subscriptions. Okay. 25th Jan to 27th Jan. Use the code Yashes Live for 10% off. And you can just click on the get subscription and you can easily go for the extension. Okay. So boys and girls, these are the benefits that you get on Unacademy. And with all these features, you can easily choose Unacademy for your CA inter learning. Okay. Now let's start with the what we have to see, and that is in relation to mainly test of controls. Okay. Now before going to the main part, what I'll do is I'll just show you test of controls, a diagram that we always draw so that you find it easier, beneficial. Okay. Boys and girls, can we start? Please tell me in the chat area. This is just a confirmation just to know whether the chat area is working properly and whether you're able to see and hear me properly on YouTube live. Please tell me in the chat area. Boys and girls, are you able to hear me? Please tell me in the chat area. Okay, I think Lekha, World Fighter, Gayatri, World Fighter. What is your name? Who is World Fighter? Can you tell me your name so that I can identify you as my student? No, World Fighter, Gayatri, Akhil, Ragashri, Dipti are there. Okay, good. Okay, fine. Now, boys and girls, let's start with this part. Okay. Now, let's see in relation to the test of controls. Oh, Surya, you are World Fighter. I didn't know only. Oh my God. Okay, come. Surya, how do you come with such deadly names? Come, boys and girls, see this. Now, let's revise the semicircle diagram just for quick recap of the test of controls. Come, let's do it. Tell me, boys and girls, tell me. We start at 0%. Tell me, what is another name for 100%? Tell me fast in the chat area. Let's play rapid fire. Tell me, what is one more name for 100% assurance? What is one more name for 100% assurance? Tell me. One more name for 100% assurance. Great. Absolute assurance. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. I think there is a delay in when I'm asking the question and when you're answering. Okay, no. So absolute assurance. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Good. Okay. Sir, the auditor dreams of reaching the absolute assurance level, but the auditor has to stop somewhere here. Why? Sir, because this is the realistic level, sir. Realistic level means what, sir? Reasonable assurance level, sir. Beyond this level, the auditor feels, oh my God, I think it will be very difficult after this, because what is there in auditing? You know this very well. That in auditing, there is something called as inherent limitations. Inherent limitations are there in auditing. You know this very well. Okay, no? We are just doing a quick revision. Sir, when the auditor is at 0%, the auditor will do something. What is this called? Sir, the auditor will do knowledge of the client's business. He will take. The knowledge of the client business, when he takes, the auditor is basically doing what? He's doing one of the risk assessment procedures. Always remember, risk assessment procedures. One of the risk assessment procedures is what? KOCB. Okay. Now, sir, after doing KOCB, the auditor will test the controls. We're going to test the controls. The auditor is here testing the controls, testing the controls, testing the controls, and reaching this level. Reaching this level. Okay, no, reaching this level. Now, this is what is called test of controls. So basically, auditor is checking what here? So the auditor is checking the internal controls here. And the checking of the internal controls by the auditor, statutory auditor, is called test of controls. One more name for that is compliance procedures. Checking the compliances, whether entity is following all the compliances, all the policies, procedures, regulations, whether they are following or not. Okay. So that is your test of controls. Now, test of controls ends here, and then you know test of controls directly affects what? Sir, it affects the substantive procedure, sir. Here, the auditor is doing the substantive procedure, sir. Substantive procedures he is doing. Okay. So it directly affects the substantive procedures. Substantive procedures. Okay. Now, this is, as you know, substantive procedures which are divided into two types. Tell me which two. First is called test of details. In test of details, what do we do, sir? Sir, we check the transaction, account balances, disclosures. One more area, the second part of substantive procedures is called as what? Sir, substantive analytical procedures, sir. Analytical. Checking with the help of ratios and trends. Ratios and trends. Okay. So this is what we do basically. Main overview of the diagram is basically this. And of course, in this now you know, sir, if we reach the reasonable assurance level, reporting will be done. Reporting, if it is there are no material misstatements, or there are misstatements but those are immaterial, then still the auditor will give which report? Sir, clean report. Sir, if there are material misstatements, what will the auditor check? He'll check whether it is pervasive, not pervasive. If it is pervasive, tell me adverse opinion. So if it is not pervasive but material misstatement is there, then it is qualified opinion, correct? Opinion, qualified opinion, also called as modified opinion, as you know, 705. Clean report is also called as unqualified opinion. It is also called as unmodified opinion also. Okay, no? So remember these two names for clean report. After this, we did one more thing. And what was that thing? Sir, very simple. If the auditor does not reach the reasonable assurance level, even after doing the KOCB, test of controls, substantive procedure, does not reach, what will he do? Sir, alternative audit procedures. Remember border example, border, Kashmir border example. Remember or no? That is your alternative audit procedures. Then audit, after doing alternative audit procedures, it can be successful or it can be weak. If it is successful, great, we will reach the RA level. If it is not successful, auditor will check the possible effects of the misstatements, whether it is material or no. If it is material but not pervasive, then you know what to do, qualified opinion. If it is material and pervasive, sir, disclaimer of opinion, sir, the auditor will keep quiet here. Auditor doesn't know what to do. Why, sir? Because he thinks there is something very big which is wrong, but he does not have evidence in relation to that. So in those situations, what to do? Keep quiet. That is called as disclaimer of opinion. What is one more name for disclaimer of opinion? No opinion report. What is one more name for adverse opinion? Negative opinion or negative report. Remember or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? So that completes this entire, just basic quick semicircle revision that we generally do. And I hope it is clear. Of course, in this we have added so many things. We saw performance materiality. We have seen, sir, when that suppose the risk goes up 315, again comes down 330. That is further audit procedures. So many variation combination, especially in the sampling chapter. We saw so many things in the class. Okay, so just a quick revision so that you recap the points in relation to what our semicircle diagram. Okay, the main diagram. Now, boys and girls, come here, come here, come here. See here. Here now we are doing test of controls. Our entire focus is on this test of controls. Okay. So today we are here to cover this area. Okay. So boys and girls, I'll just show you the diagram here. Okay. So all the answers are here in relation to test of controls. If you think about it, just 4 answers are there. Okay. And 4 very, very simple, very, very manageable answers. Okay. Very simple area. Nothing to worry as such. Okay. Let's get into it and let's do this. Okay, we are doing test of controls. One more name I told you already. Compliance procedure, checking the compliances that the entity is following or not. Okay, come here. Let's see this. Now, first they are saying, boys and girls, see here. Sir, the auditor should first do an inquiry in the organization regarding the controls that is kept. First, simple way. Tell me, when you come home, before, suppose you are very hungry and you come home, and and sometimes this happens when you suddenly come home, and suppose if you see your father, or you see your brother or sister, what is the first question you ask? Even if it is you don't have anything to talk to mother, but tell me the first question that you ask. So I ask, Appa, Amma inga. Amma inga means what? Where is mother? Where is mummy? Okay, no. Where is mother? Like that you ask, no. So sometimes when you come home, in your native language, you will ask, Appa, where is Amma? Or Akka, where is Amma? Anna, where is Amma? You will ask this, no. That is nothing but what? That is basically inquiring. Inquiring, correct? No. Similarly, auditor, when he does the test of controls, no. What is the first thing the auditor does? Auditor first will do inquiry. He will ask the people in the organization regarding whether controls are kept properly or not. What kind of controls have been kept? All these things they will say. All these things they will say. Okay. That is in relation to inquiry. Somebody please tell Gayatri the page number. Gayatri, I think, is looking for the page number. Please tell Gayatri the page number. Okay, page number 39, Gayatri. 39. Okay, got it? Okay, come. So first we will have inquiry. Okay, inquiry. Second, sir, the auditor, after doing inquiry, he will just not trust them, sir, blindly. The auditor should do other audit procedures, sir, other audit procedures. He should question certain things. No, look at this magnifying glass. Okay, no. The auditor should question some things. No. What are the things to question, sir? First of all, how has the control been applied? How is the control applied? Is the control applied properly? Not properly? All these things matters. No. Simple example I'll give. Suppose just a simple layman level example I'm giving. Okay, no, just for understanding this concept. In your building, you will be having a watchman, correct? So first of all, you can apply the watchman. Okay, no, you can appoint the watchman. In the watchman case, you can appoint the watchman. But if you appoint the watchman and if you don't give him any instructions, no, then the watchman is sleeping the entire night, and even if the thief comes, nobody will know. So it is important, if you have controls in place, they should be operating properly. So it is very important to check how they have been applied. How they have been applied. So if you give the watchman instruction that, see, during the night, no, I want you to take minimum 20 rounds of the building. 20 rounds you have to take. At different times, you have to take 20 rounds. Now, if you give the watchman such kind of an instruction, no, then he comes to know, okay. Yes, sir, I will take 20 rounds, sir, don't worry. So he comes to know that you are very serious. You don't want a single theft in the building. So first of all, you will check is how the controls are applied. Now come to the level of example that we have done. I taught you two very important things. So remember that go down example. Second, that salary example that we always do. Sir, go down example, salary example, both we do in relation to controls. Sir, in relation to that go down example, no, everything that is there in that go down example. Sir, a person is checking the vehicle, a person is checking the goods that are coming out of the vehicle in terms of that quality control. A person who is taking the goods and keeping it, inside the go down. Then you have the placer who is arranging the goods inside the go down. Then that team of maintenance team is there. Sir, whether they are applying and doing their work properly or not, that will define how the controls have been working. Next one, see how long the controls have been applied. How long means, sir, the consistency of control. One day it is working properly, one day not working properly, one day working properly, one day not working properly. We don't want like that. We want controls to be consistent. Suppose you go to the airport. Have you ever seen the security at the airport being like, today, we are not in the mood to check, Today, if this terrorists and all, if they come, no, it is okay. It is fine. Today, we are giving a 1 day off for the terrorists. Okay, they can come and in whichever flight they want to go, they can go, no problem. Have you ever seen them like that? Never. Why? Because they understand that they have to be consistent every day and they cannot afford to make a single mistake. Similarly, internal controls have to be consistent. They should work throughout the period of audit. Okay, no. So if the auditor is doing the audit for the financial year 21-22, the controls have to be there in place consistently in the year 21-22. That is what the auditor is checking. Third, sir, who is the person who is responsible, sir? By whom is the control applied, sir? Who is the person who is responsible, who is taking care of controls, who is seeing whether controls are there in place or not, sir? That is the person who we should, talk to, inquire, speak to. He will give us the perfect idea about controls, sir. So basically, we are just taking an overview of the controls. What are we doing, sir? We'll do inquiry and we'll do other audit procedures in combination with inquiry. We'll ask the question like, how is the control applied? For how long? That is basically, what is the consistency of application of the controls? And who has applied the controls? Who has been given the responsibility to ensure that the controls are there in place? That is what we will check as the auditor. Everyone very clear? Yes or no? Please tell me in the chat area. Understanding everything. Okay, come. So first we are doing here test of controls. Come, test of controls. Test of controls may be defined as an audit procedure designed to evaluate the operating effectiveness of controls in preventing or detecting and correcting the material misstatements at the assertion level. At the assertion level. Simple, at the assertion level. Easy, very simple. So test of control may be defined as a audit procedure designed to evaluate the operating effectiveness of controls in preventing or detecting and correcting Material misstatements at which level? At the assertion level. At the assertion level. Very easy, very simple. Okay. So now in this, what are we going to check? Let's see this. Nature and extent of test of controls is the first answer. In designing and performing test of controls, the auditor shall do what all things. Okay, no. So how should the auditor test the designing and performing of controls? That is given here. Okay. First, perform other audit procedures in combination with what? Inquiry. So inquiry becomes the main tool for the auditor, or the main audit procedure that the auditor will do. Along with that, the auditor has to do other audit procedures. Okay, to obtain audit evidence about the operating effectiveness of the controls, whether controls are working effectively or no, including how the controls were applied at relevant times during the period under audit. How were the control applied? Next, the consistency with which they were applied. Consistency means what? In right in the bracket, how long were the controls functioning properly? How long were the controls working properly? Third is what? By whom or by what means they were applied. By whom or by what means what? Sir, who was in charge of the controls, and how did he ensure that the controls are there in place throughout the year? That is what the auditor will check. That is what the auditor will check. Everyone understanding this, please tell me. Very clear, very simple, very easy. Boys and girls, very clear, very simple. Okay, very clear. Now, this is in relation to the auditor is checking in relation to the controls part. Now, there is one more area that the auditor will question, and that is the auditor may consider some areas here. Okay, no, the auditors will consider some areas here. What are the areas the auditor will consider? Understand in a very simple manner. Okay, no, you can see a code here called FlexRex. Okay, no, you can see the code called FlexRex here. Now, what is this FlexRex? I will tell you. Very simple. See this. Determine whether controls to be tested depend upon other controls. That is indirect controls. The controls that we have put, are they dependent on other controls? Simple, I'll tell you an example. Suppose we have a person who comes and checks the records every day. How much sales have we done? Whether all the sales have been properly recorded or not. All these things he does. But these controls, no, this person is coming and checking the sales area every day. No, that is a control in place, correct? No, because we are tracking everyday sales, so that is a control in place. That is a procedure that we have set. But that person, no, is checking this. No, he's checking this on the computer. On the computer, there is a software. That software is providing him the data regarding how much sales was done, and he's looking at the data and then making his daily report in regarding the daily sales count. So you understand, the person who is coming and checking the sales, no, he is dependent on one more control, that is in relation to the data that the software is providing the person. So you understand, controls can be sometimes dependent on other controls also. Okay, one control can depend on other controls for the data. Now look at the question that is asked here. Matters the auditor may consider in determining the extent of test of controls. Extent means what? How should the test of controls be done? And this includes the following. This includes the following areas. What areas are they included? Let's do one by one. Okay, let's see this first. The frequency of performance of the control. The frequency. Let's say frequency means what? Sir, how often is the control performed? How often is the control performed? Frequency of the performance of the control. How often is the control performed? Next is how long, the length of time during the audit period that the auditor is relying on the operating effectiveness of the controls. So first is how often is the controls performed. You can write the word often here. And here you can write how long. How long the control is performed. As I told you, control should be performed throughout the year of audit. Throughout the year of audit. Okay. Whenever you think about this point, think about that airport example. Can the security of the airport ever tell, okay, wait, today we are not going to check. Whoever wants to come to the airport, board the flight, go in the air, and again come down. You can do it, no problem. We are not going to check anyone. Can they ever do that? The answer is no. So I hope you are able to understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. Next is what? See, expected rate of deviation from the control. What is the expected rate of deviation? What does this mean? Sir, what are you expecting that the controls may not perform? For example, if you are having this level of expectation from the control, this is the highest level of expectation from the control. But if the controls are able to perform at this level, then are you okay with that? Then it means that you are okay with this much deviation. You are okay with that much deviation. If controls are expected to perform at this level, the controls are actually performing at this level, but you are okay with this one deviation, or then you will still be okay with controls. That's called expected rate of deviation from a control. And you understand, sir, controls I'm hoping are at this level, but if the controls are at this level, no, this gap which is there, no, this gap which is there, no, the auditor has to ensure that the controls are, then auditor has to ensure that substantive procedures are done properly in order to ensure that this gap which was created as a deviation, that is removed. So the auditor has to check more when he is doing the substantive procedures. Correct? So the next point is expected rate of deviation. After that, you have relevance and reliability of the audit evidence to be obtained regarding the operating effectiveness of the control at the assertion level. The auditor should do activities to ensure that the controls are relevant and reliable. Because if the controls are relevant and reliable, you understand the substantive procedures of the auditor will reduce. Auditor will be less stressed. Okay. Next, the extent to which audit evidence is obtained from tests of other controls related to the assertion. The extent to which audit evidence is obtained from tests of other controls related to the assertion. Very easy, very simple, very simple. Test of what? Other controls. So some other controls may also give the auditor the evidence. Some other controls may also give the auditor the evidence. Okay. Very simple area. If you look at it, you will get a very simple code called flex rex. Okay, no. Boys and girls, please tell me in the chat area whether you are understanding or no. Please tell me. Very easy. You have here flex. You have here rex. Flex rex. Extent. We're going to extend to which audit evidence is obtained. Okay, from test of other controls. Okay, no. So you will have a code here, very simple code, and that is your flex rex. Okay, no, flex rex. Easy, very simple, clear. Surya, Akhilesh, very simple. Deepthi has written last second point. Deepthi, do you mean to say second last point? Deepthi, do you mean to say second last point? Deepthi, are you there? Do you mean to say second last point? Okay, Deepthi has written last second point. So I'm not clear whether she wants the clarification of the second and last point or the second last point. Okay, yes, second last point. Relevance and reliability of audit evidence. So what evidence are you obtaining? What evidence are you obtaining from the controls? That is very important for the auditor. If the evidence that the auditor is obtaining, auditor is not satisfied, then you understand auditor will have to do more substantive procedures. But if the evidence that the auditor is obtaining, if it is relevant and reliable, then the auditor's effort in relation to substantive procedures will reduce. Okay. So this is in relation to what? Flex rex. Okay, so this is in relation to what? Flex rex. Very easy, very simple. Okay, flex rex. Okay. So frequency, length of time, expected rate of deviation, relevance and reliability, and extent to which audit evidence is obtained. Extent to which audit evidence is obtained. Clear? This is given in this part. So that completes our second area. That is basically auditor may consider this. Auditor may consider all these factors in relation to test of controls, in relation to the controls part. Okay. Now the third one is the tricky answer. Now you have to understand this very, very nicely. Come, let's do it properly. What shall the auditor consider in determine retesting of controls? Now, what do you mean by this answer? Come, boys and girls, understand this with me very easily. See this. Important answer. Ensure that you're doing it properly. Very, very important. Let's do it properly. Let's see this. Now, this question says, Sir, when will the auditor decide, or how will the auditor come to know that retesting is required? Okay, look at the question. In determining whether it is appropriate to use audit evidence about operating effectiveness of controls obtained in previous audits, and if so, the length of time period that may elapse before retesting a control, the auditor shall consider the following. Auditor shall consider the following. To understand the meaning, what shall the auditor consider to determine the retesting of controls? What all will you think of to determine whether the control should be retested? Okay. Now let's look at these areas. Understand with me very easily. Look at these areas very carefully. See this? The effectiveness of other elements of internal control, including the control environment, monitoring of the controls, and the entity's risk assessment procedures. Okay, these are the three areas that the auditor will first check. Now, what do you mean by this question? What is the hidden area in relation to this question? Understand, see. The auditor was given the audit for this period. Okay, now in this period, the auditor has already checked the controls. So if you're thinking it's a test of controls, whether it is done, the answer is yes. So test of controls is already done during this period. Now comes the second period. So the second period is here. Now you will understand that generally if the auditor has already tested the controls here, no, normally he will not check the controls in so much depth again here. Normally he will not check. But what they are saying is, what are the factors that can come, or what can happen because of which the auditor can think, no. I think we need to test the controls here again. We have to retest the controls. We need to retest controls. We need to retest the controls. Okay. So normally the auditor would not have tested the control because he in so much depth, because the auditor has already tested the controls in the previous year only. Here they are saying, sir, auditor will go in depth again in test of controls because of certain factors, and those are the factors that we are seeing. Now look at the point, you'll understand, sir. Control environment, sir. Control environment, monitoring of the controls, and the risk assessment procedures. If the effectiveness is falling low, if the effectiveness is not that good, then the auditor will go ahead and do the retesting of controls. Okay. So you understand the first point here. Look here, look here, look here. Sir, if this is the organization, we know, sir, the top management is basically the control environment. They set the controls in place. And the top management must have set the controls here in the entire organization. So we have to do what, sir? We have to monitor the controls. See what I'm drawing here? I'm drawing an M here. Sir, we have to do what, sir? We have to monitor the controls. Monitor the controls at regular basis. Okay, no. Continuously check whether controls, if there is anything weak, whether it is proper or not, like that, as an auditor. Correct? So let's look at the points here. Sir, control environment will check. Monitoring of control has to be done. And then you have the risk assessment procedures. So the auditor will check whether the organization is taking care of the risk properly or not, whether risk assessment procedures are there in place or not. If they are not there, then the auditor will be worried. So you understand, what do you understand in this answer? Sir, if the control environment is weak, or if the controls monitoring is weak, or if the risk assessment is not done properly, so in those cases, no, the auditor will retest the controls. Everybody understood this point? Please tell me. Very clear, very clear, very clear. Very simple. Okay. Clear. Easy. Okay, now let's look at the next point. Okay, let's see this. Sir, the risk arising from the characteristics means the features of the control, sir. So the qualities of the control, characteristics of the control, including whether it is manual or automated. Now, every type of control can have their own risk, no? So those risks will come. For example, manual, if it is there, you know that, okay, sir, manual controls, if they are there, no, then 24/7, 365 days in a year, controls cannot be there in place. Very difficult to put controls in place. Sir, in case of automated, sir, we can have virus attacks, we can have hacking issues, all these things can happen. So the risk in each type of controls, they also come up with their own risk. Suppose if you put controls in place. For example, if you put an antivirus software in place, correct, for a laptop, it is a control in place, correct? But that antivirus software after 1 year will get expired. No, suppose if you forget it goes out of your mind, that you have to, reapply for the same. What has happened is you have just purchased antivirus software for 1 year and it is just there. They are sending you updates, renew. You're not renewing it. So what will happen is you understand now some risk will get a chance to enter your PC. Why? Because the antivirus software is weak. It is not as updated as how it should be. So that is the characteristics of control. So you understand, in this case only I'm talking about whatever controls you have set in place, we are checking the characteristics of the control. Sir, whether control characteristics are strong or not. That is what we are checking as the auditor. Okay, characteristics we are checking. Come to the next one, boys and girls. See this. Sir, nowadays everything is run on IT, sir. So see this. Effectiveness of general IT control, sir. Whether general IT control is there in place, whether that is working properly or not. General IT control means something that common things in the entire organization, whether they are working properly or not. There's something called as enterprise controls. Okay, no. So in that general IT controls is the IT area of it. So whether the general IT controls are there in place. Okay, very simple. Example, in many of the offices, many of the corporate places, you cannot insert an outside pen drive. An outside pen drive can, it will not, when you insert a pen drive, the computer will not react with it. Okay, no, laptop will not react because maybe it is having some kind of shield that from outside nobody can put the pen drive and take the data away. That is also possible nowadays. So these are the general IT controls that the auditor will check whether these are there in place or not. This is called general IT controls. So you understand one more thing, sir. In today's times, controls are more, sir? More computerized in nature, sir. We need general IT controls. I'm just drawing a computer on laptop. Okay, so you can imagine this, sir. We need what? General IT controls in place. General IT controls in place. Okay, very simple. Come to the next area. See. Point number D. What are they given in point number D? The effectiveness of the controls. Look carefully. The effectiveness of the control and its application by the entity, including the nature and extent of the deviations in the application of the control, noted in what? Previous audit. Something that you noted in previous audit that the company should have improved, but they have not improved. Okay, no. So the control effectiveness, its application this year will be little less because last year's improvement they have not done. And whether there have been personal changes that significantly affect the application of the control. It means what, sir? Whether the staff has changed, sir. Staff has changed. So you understand in two things. Previous audit deviations that you noted and personal changes. So two P's are the previous audit and personal changes that can affect the controls. Okay, so you understand in controls, the last area that you're seeing is, sir, previous audit deviations. Previous audit deviations. And the second thing you have, what is the second thing, sir? One second. I think there's some issue with the screen. Okay. Check it out. Previous audit deviation. And second is personal changes. Okay, no, personal changes that have taken place. Personal can simply mean, sir, the person was handling the control so well, that person has left the organization. Let's say the company's chief accountant has left the organization. So now we'll understand that person who knew the accounting system so well, that person has retired or left the organization, has gone to some other organization. So you don't have a chief accountant anymore. So there will be some issues that will be there in controls because there are personal changes. Okay, no, personal changes. Okay, personal changes. Very clear, very simple, very easy to understand. That is basically this area. Look at the next one. See this. Whether the lack of change in the particular control poses a risk due to changing circumstances. Changing circumstances means what? So the situation is changing, sir. So the laws are changing. So the environment is changing. COVID-19, best example here, COVID-19. Does COVID-19 bring in more business risk to the company? The answer is yes. Answer is yes, sir, because the changing circumstances are there. Sir, in this, will the company go and do, so all the companies between the year 2021 and 2022, that financial year 21-22, don't you think, or financially I should say 2021. During the financial year 2021, no, many companies must have tried to do window dressing. Why? Sir, sales down, expenses are still that high, sales are down, profit percentage is very low. Sir, every company will want to show a better picture, sir. No, we are not suffering that much. We are a great company, don't worry. All the investors, you keep investing in our company. We are a good company, don't worry. They will want to send such a message. So I'm very sure that few of the companies must have definitely taken the route of window dressing to show a better picture. So you understand there is a risk due to what? Changing circumstances. Risk due to what? Changing circumstances. Very simple, very simple, very simple. Okay. So you understand regarding the entity I'm writing here, entity's risk can increase because the entity will now react to what? Changing circumstances, changing situations. Changing circumstances. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Let's see this. The final point. The risks. The risk of material misstatement and the extent of reliance on the control. What is the RMM that we are dealing with, sir? And what is the extent of reliance? How much are we relying on the control? That is what the auditor will check. Okay, no? So that is basically the last area, that is your RMM. Now you understand RMM is basically what? If the controls are weak, the organization can be infected with what? RMM. Infected, when I say, I don't mean it only in computerized way. RMM is, as you know, risk of material misstatement, sir. So when they do the assessment of the risk, and if they see the risk is very high, risk of material misstatement is there, then the auditor will be worried. See, the risk of material misstatement and the extent of reliance on the controls. How much to rely on the controls? Very clear, very simple, very easy. Okay. Look at the diagram, look at the points, understand with me. When will the auditor retest the controls? When will the auditor retest the controls? When? First point, sir. If the control environment, monitoring of the controls, and the risk assessment is showing some kind of an issue. Risk assessment is showing some kind of an issue. So the characteristics of the controls are such that risk can be there. Like I told you, online manual controls, or if it is IT controls. Sir, general IT controls of the company, if they are not working properly, then sir, it is a big problem. For example, the company does not have, the organization does not have firewall. So packets are not being checked. Packet means whatever you're downloading from the internet, that is packets, are not being checked. So you don't know what virus is coming. Next is, sir, previous audit deviations which are noted, the company has not improved on it. So personal changes which are happening, because of which the controls are not in place properly. Changing circumstances are there, sir. Situation is changing. And finally, sir, the risk of material misstatement, sir. Risk of material misstatement is there. Boys and girls, very simple, very easy. Yes or no? Very, very clear. Yes or no? Easy to understand, simple to understand. Clear? Now, this completes a very important answer. If you ask me, no, very, very important answer. That is in relation to, sir, should the auditor retest the controls in simple way? Should the auditor think of retesting the controls? And the auditor should check these areas and then decide whether retesting of control is required or not. So, boys and girls, look here very carefully. If the auditor plans to use audit evidence from a previous audit about the operating effectiveness of the specific controls, the auditor shall establish the continuing relevance of that evidence by obtaining audit evidence about whether significant changes in those controls have occurred subsequent to the previous audit. So auditor is going to check whether there is any significant change in the controls after the previous audit, because till previous audit controls were checked. After the previous audit, is there any significant change that has taken place? That is what the auditor will check. Boys and girls, very clear, very simple, very easy, simple to understand. Okay, so that completes your third answer. All the points are written here in a summarized manner. You can see here. Summarized manner, the points are written here. Or if you don't want to depend on this also, you can simply depend on this area. No issues. You can simply read this area. Very simple. Okay, and of course, you should know the diagram very well. Diagram is the key for remembering the answer. Okay, so for the diagram, please take a screenshot, copy in your notes so that it is easy for you to then later on recollect the points. Okay, come to the last area, my dear student, that is see this. Look at the question. Specific inquiries by the auditor when deviation from controls are detected. What are the specific inquiries done by the auditor when deviations of controls are detected? It means what? If the auditor thinks the controls are fine, but when he does specific inquiries, he realizes, auditor thinks that the controls are fine, but when he gets evidence that, oh my god, these controls are not working properly, who said the controls are fine? Then the auditor will, go ahead, see what is wrong, see what he needs to do, see how much work he needs to do more, all these things. So, see, very simple. When deviations from controls upon which the auditor intends to rely are detected, the auditor shall make specific inquiries to understand these matters and their potential consequences and shall determine the following. What should the auditor determine? See here very carefully. The test of controls that have been performed provide an appropriate basis for relevance on the controls. Appropriate basis means proper basis. Proper basis. So the auditor will come to know whether controls are really there in place or not. If the controls are not there in place, auditor may do extra work. Auditor may do additional test of controls. Auditor will say, no, controls, how come they are so bad? I want to see what is the real controls situation is there in the company. So auditor is doing additional test of controls. Finally, if there is any potential risk of material misstatement, it needs to be addressed using which procedure? Substantive procedure. That if there is a risk, auditor has to give a response to the risk. You know that in the semicircle diagram, the line goes up 315. Then we give a response to the risk. Line comes down. That is basically what they're talking about. Very simple. Test of controls, additional test of controls which are necessary, potential risk of misstatements using what? Substantive procedures. Substantive procedures. Okay, that is in relation to specific inquiries. That is in relation to specific inquiries by the auditor when deviations from controls are detected. I hope you understood the meaning of the question. Okay, very simple area. So you understand that is basically this area. Specific inquiries when there are deviation in relation to the controls. Check the test of control appropriateness. Do additional test of controls if it is what required. Potential risk of material misstatement to be addressed using what? Substantive procedures. Using what? Substantive procedures. Boys and girls, very clear, very simple, very easy. Please tell me, very, very simple. Yes or no, yes or no. Easy, clear. Okay. Any doubts in this till now? Any doubts in this? If there is any query, please ask me. Any point, any query, please ask me. Go through it very well. Please tell me whether you have understood this very, very clearly or no. Please go through it. Easy. Okay. So that is mainly in relation to test of controls. Okay. Now, since we have some time left, let's do one thing. Let's do a quick revision of the substantive procedures, hand action. Boys and girls, do you remember the hand action of substantive procedures? Hand action, boys and girls. I taught you this answer. Remember this? Sir, assertions about classes of transactions. Then assertion about account balances. And assertion about, as you know, presentation and disclosures. Okay. Boys and girls, remember the hand action. Remember the hand action. How was it? Do it with me. First is what, sir? Occurrence, completeness, cutoff, classification, accuracy. One more time. Occurrence, completeness, cutoff, classification, accuracy. That is exactly what we did here. Occurrence, completeness, cutoff, classification, accuracy. Second one, sir. Sir, in relation to account balances, what do we check, sir? Sir, whether the account balances are there in existence. rights and obligations, completeness, money, valuation and allocation. Correct? No. So existence, rights and obligations, completeness, valuation and allocation. Okay, no, very simple. So the third one we had seen, that is in relation to the occurrence. Correct? Occurrence. With that we say rights and obligation. Occurrence, rights and obligations, completeness, classification, accuracy. One more time. Occurrence, completeness, classification, accuracy. Very simple. Very simple. Clear, boys and girls. Yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Very simple, easy to understand, clear, no issues at all, very comfortable. Okay, that covers this area. That covers this area. Now, boys and girls, are you in the mood to just revise the songs? What do you think? Tell me in the chat area. Revise the songs. Yes or no? Revise the songs. Tell me, are you in the mood to revise the songs? Okay, no. What all songs can we revise right now? Sir, we can do the section 144 rock on song. Rock on song. Okay, no. Section 144 rock on song we can revise. Then after that, we have the 58 point songs, sir. 58 points, we have the two songs. Okay, no. So we can revise these two songs. Correct. So after that, sir, the normal ones are 139. We have the tunes are BM, CBM. We can sing that song. BM, CBM. Okay, no. So we can sing that song. BM, CBM. So then we had this, the rotation of auditors, sir. We had that LOS, all, puk, 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 what. Okay, no. So we can do that song. So that is your rotation of auditor. So I'm just writing a rotation. Correct? LOS, all. Okay, now remember the song LOS, all. Okay, we will sing that song. What other song have you completed in this case? What other songs have you done? There are many songs in law, but because there's an audit session, so we can revise these songs. Let's do one thing. Chalo, boys and girls, get ready. Let's revise these songs. First of all, somebody tell the page number to the other students. Please tell the page number for 144. Section 144. Please tell the page number in the chat area. Please tell the page number in the chat area. Okay, can anybody tell the page number for section 144 rock on song? Anybody, can you tell me the page number for 144 rock on song? Can you tell me the page number? Go to the notes. Please tell me the page number in the chat area for the other students. Okay, 161. Okay. Okay. Varalakshmi, thank you for this. 161 is here. 161 for the rock on song. 58 point song. Please tell me the page number. Someone 58 point song. Please tell me the page number for these two also. Next two ones is 161 near, very near 161. No, you will get this 139. Tell me this 139 and rotation first, and then you tell me the page number for this 58 point song. What is the page number for these two areas? Okay, I think there is some, I think, sound issue. I think the sound is coming to you a little bit late. Let's do one thing. Let's start the revision directly. You guys find the page number. You know where it is. Okay, we have already covered in the batch. You know where it is. So please open it in your notes later on. So let's just start. Okay, 1, 2, 3, start. The design and implementation of any FIS, accounting and bookkeeping services, actuarial services, rendering of outsourced financial services, investment advisory services, investment banking services, management services, internal audit, and any other kind of services as may be prescribed. Very simple. 58-point song. First song was what? Very simple. Sir, the 4 बज गए लेकिन पार्टी अभी बाकी है song, sir. Okay, now what was that song? Very simple. Disclosure depreciation, double entry documentation, discrepancy date occurrence, original observation, going concern gap completeness, controls cut off transaction, confirmation, correspondences, changes clients business, resolution, representation, related parties, request reasonable, rights RBI direction, reconciliation, revaluation. Clear? Now after that we have the next one. What is that one, sir? The border movie song, sir. Border movie song. Okay, now let's do it. 1, 2, 3, start. Accounts authenticated, authorized accuracy, analytical procedures, agreement, adjustment, availability, accrual, audit procedures, minutes, payments, provisions, policy, professional skepticism, professional judgment, standard, security, segregation of duties, strategy dues, subsequent events, valuation, verification, existence, evidence, ST, metality, TDS, test counts, title deeds. Very simple. Then we had this small tune in relation to 139, very simple tune. Okay, what was it? BM CBM 39636 30 dash 30 dash. Once again, BM CBM 39636 30 dash 30 dash. Very clear. Finally, we had in relation to rotation of auditor. Okay, no, rotation of auditor. What was it? Very simple. Sir, very easy. LOS all. Book. PB from FPB 5010 50. LOS all. Book. PB from FPB 5010 50. Very simple, boys and girls. Okay. Very comfortable. One of the most simplest areas ever. Okay, now. Okay, boys and girls, session is done. I wish you all the very best. Study well. And I think we are again meeting on Unacademy at 6:30 today with a special class, and that will focus on section 147 and 148. Okay. I wish you all the very best. Take care. See you. Bye.